Welcome to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. Are you trying to master the game of life without success? There are secrets and strategies to living your best life. We'll share some of them with you on today's show. Take advantage of this series to become an expert at relationships. All relationships. It's time to live the life that you deserve to live. Now, here's your host, Sandra Reish.
Hello, welcome to Straight Talk, a very exciting show today, almost a little nerve-wracking. I'll tell you why. A while back, I had a very special lady on the show for Straight Talk. I call her the Canadian treasure, Tracey Deer, Gemini Award-winning producer and director and creator of the very famous show Mohawk Girls. And she was very kind to come on the show and to really share her journey and what she's gone through. It's really incredible, actually. She shares with people, even though she's a very public personality, and most people would not do that. And she shares her journey to help others. And we were chatting on the commercial break about some of the shows I do. And she said, Sandra, I have to give you a little feedback. And I went, okay. And she said, it's a great show. I love it. But people want to hear what you have to say. Can I interview you? And I went, oh my God, yeah, I'd love that. Why, Tracey, you're here. Welcome to the show. Why did you say that?
Okay, well, Sandra, you and I have known each other now almost 5 years. And where I was in my life when we first met to where I am now it's worlds apart. And I am living such a healthier, happier, empowered, fulfilled life. And I do credit a lot of that to you. You always tell me that I'm the one doing the work, but you are the one that has laid the groundwork and laid the path for me to walk down. So everything you've shared, all of your insights, all of your knowledge has helped me to get where I am today. And, I always want more. I'm still a client of yours, and I hope to be my whole life. So wow. I know what you have to share is so valuable.
Well, first of all, thank you. You really make me feel very special, Tracey, and I really am honored. You are someone, and this is not for the radio, this is the truth. You are someone I respect enormously, and one of the things I respect so much about her, she's a fascinating personality, but as a client, since you brought up client, is that you're always willing to do the work. And at this point in my career, those are really the clients I want to work with. I don't want someone who doesn't want to do the work, and you drink it. You just drink it up, and you want to apply it. And I think that I'm going to hand over the control in a moment to you, but I think that you're going to be asking questions. I don't know all of them. I only had a brief look at them that represent what a lot of people would like to know about the tricks and strategies of life, which is what this Straight Talk with Sandra Reish is all about. So I think it was a great idea to come on and ask me the questions. I'm happy to give them to people. It's just without someone asking the questions, I don't know how to do it. So thank you very much for that. And again, I want to give you a proper welcome back to Straight Talk and a very special thank you, Canadian treasure, for coming to interview me. If there's anyone who I would want to interview me, it is you. So I hand you over the control, and thank you very much, Tracey Deer.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Well, look, I've thought long and hard about, we have a 2-part series where I'm going to get to pick your brain and share your knowledge with the world. And I thought we could break up the 2 parts, the first one being relationship with self, and the second part being relationship with others.
Well, I just want to jump in. You make a very good point. I should have said that. I apologize. That we have a 2-part show on this. So part 1 is this week. For the streamers, you'll see part 2 right away. But for the people listening, it will be on next Thursday. And we're going to go into, as you said, relationship with self, relationship with others. And if people have questions, that's okay if they call in, right?
Absolutely.
So the number is 1-866-472-5792. Great breakdown of what we're going to do. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Well, and the way I came up with this was when we first started working together 5 years ago. That was the first thing that you had me work on, was my relationship with self. I was so consumed with what the world thought and what others thought and what others needed that I actually didn't have much of a relationship with self. So that has really changed my life. And my memory is one of the first things that we had to look at was self-esteem and my lack of it. So I wanted us to talk first about that. What is self-esteem?
Okay. So, Tracey, that's a great question. I mean, it's one of the most misunderstood words and the most overused words I've ever seen is self-esteem. It's everywhere. So I guess I'll answer it I'll go around, is that self-esteem is not self-confidence. Okay, and I think that's where people get confused because a lot of people come see me have incredible confidence. They have efficacy at their jobs. For example, yourself. I mean, you're quite confident when you're producing or directing a show, are you not?
That's right.
Okay, but your self-esteem was in the toilet.
Yes.
So how could that be? How could she be so confident about doing her show and yet not have good self-esteem? Okay, I'll explain that. Self-esteem is how worthy you think you are. And again, what is worth? What are we worthy of? Dignity, respect, people to treat us properly, love, shelter, all those kinds of things. So the idea is that we're born worthy. Okay. But we don't learn that necessarily. That's a fact. You're born worthy. But a lot of times our parents teach us weird stuff like you're worthy if you get good marks in school. Okay. Or society tells us you're worthy if you weigh a certain weight. And then our neighbors tell us you're worthy if you make a lot of money. And we absorb these beliefs into our bodies, depending on what our first messages are. And then we truly believe that our worth goes up and down and up and down. So if I have a great boyfriend and I'm making a lot of money and I look good, my worth is great. Untrue. My worth hasn't changed. I just have more money in the bank account, a boyfriend, and great that I'm looking good. But what about tomorrow when I don't look so good? Has my worth actually changed? Does this make sense?
It makes sense now, but I definitely felt like my worth changed. So I hear what you're saying, and I now understand it. But when you have low self-esteem or low self-worth, you really do believe that these other things determine your worth, and it affects how you feel about yourself on the day-to-day basis. So how does one deprogram all those messages to actually know that I'm always worthy?
Okay, well, you have to go with that basic premise. Do you believe it that every child is born worthy? Do you believe that?
Yes.
Okay, so if a child is born worthy, is it true also that they cannot earn or lose their worth?
True.
Good. So if it's true, that child is you. You can't earn it and you can't lose it. So if tomorrow your relationship, God forbid, breaks up and you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see and maybe, God forbid, your show gets canceled, God forbid, okay, you'll have a really bad day. But your worth could not have changed. If you were born worthy and it can't fluctuate, it is your birthright, then you're always worthy. So your inner dialogue would not be, I'm a failure, I can't believe it. It would be, wow, bad day, but I'm okay.
Right.
I'm okay. And then when you are trying to accomplish things, because some people attach their self-esteem to accomplishments. That's a very common one. Certainly I grew up with that, parents who were very into accomplishments.
Me too.
Okay.
Well, I was very attached to it.
Very. So I was talking about this on another show today. The idea that if you're successful, if you're doing well in school, then you're worthy. And then I was talking about my sister, and I was saying that I hope she doesn't mind, and I don't think she does on that show, so I don't think she'll mind on this one, that she had that belief system and she built a very successful business, and one day it went bankrupt. Well, if her worthiness was attached to her accomplishments, what do you suppose happened to her?
She was crushed.
Yes, she literally broke down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the build back up was that her business is not a determination of who she is. So you have to, how you deprogram Tracey is to constantly remind yourself that your worth is not changeable. So if you're loved by someone else, that's nice, but it doesn't make you more worthy. I mean, take the argument, let's go the opposite way. What if I said to you, my husband really loves me, so I'm really worthy? Wouldn't it sound a bit strange? He loves me. I'm so loved. This proves I'm worthy. Mm-hmm. Would that not sound strange?
Yes.
Say what's going on for you.
Well, again, as you said, deprogram. I mean, I had a lifetime of believing that my worth was attached to different things. So everything you're saying, it's cognitive and it's information,
hard, yeah.
and and I get it, but again, I know people who suffer from low self-esteem, and it's not enough to give them to say, well, this is actually what it is. How do you deprogram and rebuild? Like what do they do every day?
Okay, well, first of all, we know through neuroplasticity that it is actually enough. But how badly do you want to change the programming? So on a bad day, you are right. On a bad day, I hear a voice in my head that says, Sandra, you didn't get enough done, which is the way I was raised. So my accomplishments were not significant, and I start to fall. So that's the old programming. Programming doesn't disappear, but neuroplasticity suggests that nerves that wire together fire together, meaning if you keep having the same belief, your brain keeps processing it the same way. But if I can have another belief that says, whoa, I did the best I could today. Yes, there's always more to get done, but I feel I did the best I could, and that's good enough for me. I am creating a pathway between two neurons. I'm etching a pathway. So it sounds overly simplistic. I get you on the cognitive. So I need you, and that's why I say the clients do the work. I would need the client that you have to make a commitment. I had to make the commitment in my life to not buy into a belief system that was hurting me. When I would say to myself, I'm not doing enough, and the critical voice would say, it's not good enough, it's not good enough, it's not good enough, I had to have a different voice saying, get out of my head, critical voice, you're a bully. And I did the best I could today. Now remember, these really perfectionistic people will say, but I could always do better. But we can always do better. Mm-hmm. I could say that right now. I could have given you a better answer. But I gave you the best answer I could at this time. Tomorrow I might have a better answer. Come back tomorrow. But you know what I mean? So it's even that we're laughing, like it's a more loving, friendlier, it's not a bully. It's a self-esteem disaster when it sounds rude. You didn't do enough today. You got a 95 in school. Where's the missing marks? That guy doesn't love you. You can't be worthwhile. It's got to be a bully. Mm-hmm. What do you do with a bully? What do you do with a bully? What are you supposed to do when a guy says, give me your lunch money or else? What are you supposed to eventually do?
Well, I guess it depends who you talk to. I know some people who would say, fight back. Some people would say, like, walk away and get yourself out of that situation. But
you definitely stand up to the bully, whichever way you do
exactly.
it. You don't give in to the bully.
And you don't let the bully,
run the show.
Exactly. Have power over you.
Okay, so now does it make sense that those voices, those old programming are a bully?
Yes.
And now we got to do loving parenting to ourselves to undo that. And we know through neuroplasticity, which I think is highly exciting, that we can change everything in our lives simply by teaching our brain to fire differently. Now that is very powerful, which is why, as you know, as a straight talker, I don't allow people to say things like, well, this is just my personality and I can't change it. It's simply not true.
Right. So I guess the first step is an awareness of that bully, those bully words, is to be aware when they pop into your head. And I remember this is what you taught me way back, was to be aware when that critical voice would come and that bully voice would come, to say, oh, there it is, and then to stop it. Is that?
Yes, that's exactly right. You have to, be aware of the voice, and we're going to take a commercial, but when we come back, it's also interesting to spend a little time figuring out where did the voice come from. Mm-hmm. So I'll leave you on that cliffhanger. We'll be right back with Straight Talk with Sandra Reish.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reish. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reish, on her famous couple retreats and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Spa Munari is a full-service wellness day spa located at the heart of West Island, Quebec. Submerge yourself in beauty with one of our many treatments, specially catered to your needs. We offer facials, manicures, pedicures, hair removal, massages, body treatments, and so much more. Enjoy our ultimate relaxation experience with our spa packages. We offer a men's menu as well. Call us today to book your next appointment at 514-695-5040 or visit us on the web at spamunari.com. That's 514-695-5040 or spamunari.com.
A fresh look at today's health. Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reish.
So having a great time being interviewed by the very special, inspirational Tracey Deer. We're also streaming on Facebook, Straight Talk Sandra Reish, if you want to go on. And people are following and listening to all these questions. We left on a cliffhanger. I suggested to you that step one is, yes, to be aware of the critical voice, like you pointed out, but I think it's also healthy to know where it came from. So I don't think you have to spend a lot of time on that. We don't have to blame our parents forever, but I think it's helpful to know. Like, I know in my life, I had, I said this earlier today on another show, I have European parents. They wanted their kids to really excel. So the message would be, you got a 95 in school, where is the remaining 5 marks? So that got integrated in my brain that 95 is not good enough. You go for 100. And I think their intention was good. But unfortunately, that is a critical voice. It's never quite enough. And as I told you, on a bad day, I do feel that way. And on good days, I'm like, come on. Okay. And we also know through research, by the way, that high standards, even though people don't believe this, high standards do not produce higher results. It's not true. They actually make people anxious. Lower the standard, you'll do better. Fascinating, huh?
It is.
Yeah. We have the research.
Now, does that mean some people are raised with good self-esteem and they don't have self-esteem issues?
I know, it's amazing, huh? Yeah. Yes. So what happens is the self-esteem of your parents is going to be a very big factor in your self-esteem. So if I, for example, feel very bad about my body and I'm constantly saying to my daughter, oh my God, mommy needs to lose weight. Oh God, I can't stand seeing myself in the mirror. Unfortunately, what happens is that gets absorbed in her little body and she starts to look at herself in the mirror the same way. So actually, as parents, we have a really big responsibility, because if we don't work on our own self-esteem, then our kids are going to have to work on it. And that was really important in my life, is if I was ever going to have a kid, I wanted to make sure this was cleaned up, because it's going to perpetuate. Whatever our parents don't work on, we have to. And that was hard. That my parents didn't do this work. I had to do a lot of work. It wasn't easy.
Okay. So there is no hey, do it different for the kids without having to first do it on self.
That's such a, I'm so glad you're asking that, because people do think you can do it. I'll give to my kids what I didn't get and it will work. It doesn't work, because the kids don't listen to what you say. They listen to who you are. So if they see you criticizing yourself and you're saying, you're terrific, they don't buy it. Okay. They don't buy it. So I'm really glad you highlighted that for people. This is very smart of you to pick up on that, Tracey. Yeah, nice.
Okay, well, from self-esteem, let's talk about self-love.
Okay.
That was sort of the next chapter in our work together.
Yes.
Of I needed to show myself self-love. And one, let's start with what does that even mean?
Okay. So we started with the idea that you're worthy, right? You're born worthy. You're always worthy. You can't go up in worth. You can't go down in worth. So if you're always worthy, you want to be going throughout your day doing acts of self-love. So let's play a little game, not acts of self-hatred. So if we talk about, and it's not a judgmental thing, but if I talk about, I'll start with one that might apply to me, just maybe. I always use it with my clients. I don't actually do this that much anymore, but let's say I had a really hard day at work and I come home and I say, I'm going to make a plate full of brownies because it's been a really tough day. Is that really an act of self-love, or is it an act of self-hatred? That's the million-dollar question. I'm using brownies, but replace it with smoking, replace it with drinking, replace it with numbing out. And again, I'm not saying I don't do any of these things.
Right.
But you got to be honest with yourself. Are they acts of self-love? Or let's say I said to you, I came home from work and it was a really hard day and I decided to look at my schedule because I feel like maybe I'm working a bit too much and I got to schedule an appointment with myself. I got to actually book some time to just connect with me. I'm a mother. I'm a career woman. I need some time for me. You tell me, a plate of boundaries, that's funny.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
To the plate of boundaries.
A plate of brownies, or time to reflect on maybe why I'm having the brownies, because I'm feeling so depleted. Which one is the act of self-love?
Well, it's looking at the schedule and making time for self, recognizing that you are depleted and need to do something about it. Now, I think a lot of people, though, package the brownies as like the reward for all the hard work or all the suffering or all the tough times, and it's packaged as self-love.
Yes,
how do you get away from the tricks you're playing on yourself?
Well, this, again, a favorite question, because, again, what I ask people to do, and I ask this of you, and this is why I love you, always did this, and I certainly ask it of myself, is you have to tell yourself the truth. Stop the games, okay? So, yes, you could definitely package it as a reward. So I don't mind if you say it's a reward, but tell yourself the truth. It's not an act of self-love. No, it's an act of self-indulgence. If my kid cries and I hand them a lollipop to calm them down, I'm teaching self-indulgence. So, am I saying you can never be self-indulgent? I'm not saying that. I mean, I have my days and we all have our days. But I can't say that's self-love, okay? Nor when people tell me, oh, I do lots of self-love. I go to the hairdresser 3 times a week. That's not exactly, it's not self-hatred, but, I'd call it maybe some self-care. But self-love, you could go to the hairdresser 5 times a week, but be looking in the mirror every time saying, you look bad. And it's not really loving. So loving would be going to the mirror and that critical voice, let's say, comes up and go, whoa, you're doing good. You're doing your thing, and I like you. I really like you. You don't have to say you're drop dead gorgeous if you don't feel that way, but I like you. I mean, why wouldn't you like yourself? So then you add in smoking, drinking, indulging, all those. Those are not acts of self-love. I was talking to someone recently and he was saying, really? Smoking's not self-love? And I go, no. And he goes,
cancer.
You can't say it's self-hatred. I go, but how can we not say it's self-hatred? It is putting cancer in your body. Again, not as a judgment. People do all sorts of things to cope with life. Understandable, but don't lie to yourself. It is not self-love. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And maybe so the hairdressing one was interesting because that clearly isn't self-hatred. That's like lovely activity, and you're going to feel good when you leave
as
there.
I fix my hair.
But that you said you didn't really classify that as self-love. It was more of an indulgence.
No, self-care.
Self-care. So now let's get into the difference between self-care and self-love, just to get really into the nitty-gritty.
Well, to me, going to the hairdresser, getting my nails done, I almost consider it upkeep. I'm in a job where, if my nails aren't done, my hair is not done, it's like probably not so good for me. But I could really hate myself and go to the hairdresser all the time.
Okay.
Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So it's not that there's anything wrong with it. It doesn't show me any of the vitamins or the money in the bank that I need to show me that I love myself. So you have to define what would be an act of self-love to show me. So for me, I'll give an example, and perhaps you can give one. For me, I know, because I'm very busy, and I know that when I make sure that my exercise is in my schedule, I know that's an act of self-love, because it makes me feel better, it reduces my stress, and it's consistent with my value system. So when I'm neglecting my exercise, I'm falling back into a little bit of self-neglect. Now, is self-neglect self-love or self-hatred?
It's self-hatred.
Yeah. But I could easily say, here's another excuse, I'm really busy. Yes. I just don't have time. But that's an unacceptable answer. For me, that's unacceptable, even though I say it. It's unacceptable because if you're important, which is part of worth, you go at the top of the list. So why would anything be ahead of that? Even as a parent, you go to the top of the list, oxygen mask on you first before you can take care of your children. And so that they can see that you care and love yourself. Back to your other question. That's how they learn self-esteem. Mommy cares about herself.
Okay. For me, sleep is one of the things that I value, and I know that if I have it, I function better. I'm more creative. I'm happier. So that would classify as an act of self-love, to make sure I'm getting the amount of sleep that I need, that I know I need.
I agree. That was a great example. I mean, we don't function well without sleep. So it doesn't seem to me that that would be an act of self-love to deprive yourself of sleep. It seems like it would definitely be an act of self-hatred. You're not going to perform well. You're not going to feel well. We process things in our dreams. It really extraordinarily helps us. So really great example, Tracey. Is very important. It comes back to those basics: food, sleep, exercise. So again, if you've grown up, like, let's say, neglected in life, it's very easy to fall back into neglect. You become a caretaker. You take care of others, which I know we're getting to eventually. Okay, you take care of other people. And I'm really good at taking care of other people. I'm not always so good at taking care of myself. What I've had to learn is that I have to take care of myself before I can take care of anyone, including children. So great example. Yeah, good job.
Can you give a few other examples of self-love, acts of self-love?
Well, I really think that I think it's different for everyone, but it has to go back to your value system. I often go back to, am I living my life consistent with my value system? So when it's starting to go off, for example, I love my work, but my value system says it's very important to me to be home some of the hours of the day with my kids. So if that's my value system and I'm not doing it, that's not self-love. Something else is driving that car. Okay. Now, it's okay. My work is good and my kids are okay. Don't worry. Everyone's fine. But again, I have to wonder, why would I not be living my life consistent with my value system? What's going on there? There's something insidious at play. Maybe that old critical voice, maybe that old accomplishment perfectionism, which is not self-love. So I have to constantly go back and go, what's going on? Okay. So I'm going back to what I know, and what I know is not self-love. So I have to go out of that comfort zone because it is comfortable to me. It's what I know. And I know for you, sometimes hating yourself, I know it's a big word, but it was your comfort zone. And for many people, it's their comfort zone. So I have to almost daily talk to myself. And that's another act of self-love, by the way. I talk to myself a lot. I know that sounds weird, but I do. And I go, I look in the mirror and go, how are we doing? How are you doing, kid? And I check in. Okay. And I'm like, I'm not happy because I like to pick up my kids at 4 and I want to be home after that. Okay. And then I have a conversation. Why am I not doing it? What's going on? And then I revamp again.
Okay.
Tracey's just absorbing that. I'm going to give you a minute, Tracey, to think about that. We're going to take a break. Before the break, I do want to mention that this show is sponsored by the amazing Spa Minari, a wonderful place. And she is offering, for Straight Talk listeners this week, a 15% discount on facials. So,
oh my gosh, I know where I'm going.
Yeah, check out Spa Minari. All the details are on the Straight Talk page. We'll be right back. Straight Talk with Sandra Reish.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reish. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reish, on her famous couple retreats and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Spa Munari is a full-service wellness day spa located at the heart of West Island, Quebec. Submerge yourself in beauty with one of our many treatments, specially catered to your needs. We offer facials, manicures, pedicures, hair removal, massages, body treatments, and so much more. Enjoy our ultimate relaxation experience with our spa packages. We offer a men's menu as well. Call us today to book your next appointment at 514-695-5040 or visit us on the web at spamunari.com. That's 514-695-5040 or spamunari.com.
A fresh look at today's health. Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reich.
Back on Straight Talk with Tracey Deer. Quite an interview, Tracey. Thank you very much for these provocative questions you're asking. So we just finished talking about some self-care and some self-love, and I don't know where you want to go.
Well, I have one more question to slide in on that topic before we move on to the next.
Okay.
When I was first trying to incorporate this into my life and processing it, and I did get sort of the accusation from people that I was being selfish.
Oh.
So what is the difference between I need to take time for myself and I need to connect with self and I need to do something good for self versus being selfish?
Okay, again, a great question, and I think you're right to have come on and asked these questions because they don't get asked enough, and that's a good one. Okay, so I really think there should be two words for selfish in the dictionary, the bad selfish and the good selfish. So the bad selfish, so we're clear, is when you violate someone. Okay, so if I'm completely inconsiderate of you and I'm violating you in some way, I think that could be problematic. But if I need to take some time for myself, I don't see how that's a violation of you in any way. So I've got to wonder, when people called you selfish, were they people who were good at self-love?
No.
Right. So it makes people uncomfortable when you get good at self-love when they're not. And it's interesting to call someone selfish because you can only give to others what you give to yourself. So I'm a much better therapist if I take time for myself. And I'm a much better mother if I take time for myself. So my kids could, they don't, but they're too young, but they could say, that's very selfish that you're going away with dad for the weekends. But actually, going away and nurturing my marriage brings back a happy mommy. And a happy mommy is the greatest gift I can give them. So it's oxygen mask all the way. So it's not selfish, just like, is it selfish to put the oxygen mask on you first? Is it selfish when your heart pumps blood? Did you guys know it pumps to itself before it pumps to anywhere else?
Smart heart.
Is the heart selfish?
Very smart heart.
Smart heart. It needs to take care of self first. And we do too. We're of no good. So it's not selfish. It's actually allowing you to be of service to this world and help change this world, which needs help.
And what happens when the people around you do think it's selfish and punish you for it in a way?
Well, for me, when somebody would be punitive with me, I'd have to ask what their intention was. So the first thing I ask is, what's their intention? So if they were hurt, I'd be happy to have a conversation about that. Let's say my husband said, you're taking time to meditate, let's say, and I want to spend time with you. And so we'd have a conversation and I would, reassure him that you're really important to me, but I'm not good company unless I take a little time. After seeing 8 clients, I'm not going to be in an uplifted mood. So I need a little time. Okay, so that's fine. But if the intention is just to make you feel bad about yourself, then I wouldn't engage personally because that person wants you to feel bad about yourself. So first, I always ask, and I often say this to Robert also when he tells me a story, I'll say, what was that person's intention, especially if it was a negative comment? Why did they say that to you? I have to verify what their intent, and you can't be 100% sure, but you could be curious. If they're trying to make me feel bad about the way I live my life, I don't want to engage that because to engage it is to give attention, and what you give attention to grows. And the person then has power over you. So I would ignore it.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes. Okay. Good. Let's move on to the next topic I'd like to talk about, and it's the victim.
Oh, boy.
What is this? What is this? What is our attraction to being the victim?
$1 million question. Okay. Well, I mean, I think that unfortunately many of us were victims in childhood, and there's bad things that happen, okay? And many of our movies are based on this concept of victim, you get rescued, or there's a perpetrator. So I think there's a little bit of a romanticism to it. That's one part. You as a movie maker would know a lot about that. And the other thing...
And as a recovering victim as well.
Very well said, I must say. Yes. And you know I believe that in order not to be a victim, you have to be a victim, which I should explain to people means that you have to own, if you were victimized as a child, children don't have the resources to not be victims. So you're allowed to, and you should work through and have all the emotions, the anger, the sadness, and work through that so that you don't keep replaying that role. But the problem is, again, as we looked at brain chemistry, is we tend to replay the things that we know. So if you've been a victim in life and you didn't work through it, chances are you're going to keep replaying it. So you'll keep getting victimized. And then, unfortunately, there's payoffs to being a victim because people will feel very sorry for you. You'll get attention. And you also get a little bit off the hook. So it can almost become convenient to be a victim. Someone empowered, as you know, well, I'll ask you, even though I know you're very happy to be empowered, which was easier in a way?
Oh, it was much easier to be the victim. I mean, I was never responsible for anything.
Right. Well said. Right. Because the world had just been unkind to you and bad things happened to you. So it's very seductive. It's a very seductive thing to be the victim.
So sorry.
It's okay. It's a very seductive thing. Okay, we're live. It's a very seductive thing to be the victim. We have to very much be careful that we don't keep falling into these things over and over again. Does that make sense?
Yes. And what does being a victim, what kind of influence does that have on our everyday life? What kind of quality of life do we have when we go about living our lives in the victim position?
Okay, well, I'm going to answer that because there's a lot to say that, but I just got a note that we have a caller.
Ooh.
So can we take that call first?
Yes.
Would that be okay? So I've got Lori on the phone. Hi, Lori.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Do you have a question, Lori?
I do. I've been paying attention to what you guys were saying, and I know you touched upon self-love, self-care, but can you tell me again, what is the difference between self-love and self-care?
Well, sometimes there's no difference, but I think that sometimes you can do self-care very mindlessly. Like if I have a job in the public, I'll get my nails done and my hair done, but it doesn't mean, it's not proof that I love myself. I can promise you, because I've done things like this when I wasn't being loving to myself. So I can just go do the self-care because I have an image and I want to maintain my image. Self-love is much more mindful. It's like, I need some time for myself. I'm going to book a spa day. I'm going to take something for me, and because I'm important, because I love myself, as opposed to just like, I got to get my hair done because if I'm at work, it won't look right. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if a new mom takes time away from the baby to go get her nails done because she needs time for herself and she just needs to be alone and just, do something good for her, that's self-love. Oh, with the way you just described it, 1,000 million times. Like, I sound like my daughter now. These are numbers that aren't actually true. But anyways, 100%. Because actually when you come back to your daughter after that time for yourself, you're in a good mood. And your daughter, there's something called mirror neurons. She looks in mommy's eyes and she gets a vitamin from you. Can you believe it? She gets vitamins because you took that time for yourself. How awesome is that? Seriously. So going Lawrence. To a retreat, you come back and you have more to give to your kids. Lori, going to a retreat. Lori's been to my retreats. That's why I know Lori. Going to a retreat and taking time for yourself, you will come back and have much more to give to your kids. And when I come back from taking time for me, I always have more to give to my kids, my husband, my clients, and so on and so forth. So yes, you are 100% right, and I'm so glad you're saying that. Makes complete sense. I still appreciate what you guys are doing. Always. Tracey, I love listening to you guys.
Thanks for tuning in, Lori.
Thank you.
It's so nice to hear from you, Lori. Thank you for being so good about calling in with your questions. They're always so great. I so appreciate it.
I love it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll speak to you soon, Lori.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So sorry for putting you on a pause there, but I saw that Lori was calling in, and she does always have such good questions. I know that with the phone ringing, we had a few things with the victim, and I definitely think it's worthy of picking up and going back into it. We can start now. We'll take a short break in a minute. Maybe before the break, we can talk about, as we talked about the victim, I'm curious, I'm going to throw it back at you a little bit. I'm curious, what resonates for you? You say you were a victim, and it was very seductive. So as we talk about why it's romanticized and why we get into it and the attention, what stood out for you?
What stood out in terms of when I was a victim?
As we talk about it, as we talk about it here today, what stands out? Was there anything new? Is there anything that's, you really want to get out to people yourself, having lived through this yourself?
I guess somebody that I love very much is currently sort of battling this, and I'm alongside and I'm there, but I am quite powerless to do anything about it. So understanding the effect it has on the relationship, and how I guess one can not be affected or sucked into it, get sucked back into the victim. I'm quite curious about, because it's a much easier place to be the poor me. Here we go again. And I find myself, I get seduced into going there.
Okay. So maybe on the commercial break, we'll ask people also, just take, usually get up and get your coffee or your water. But as you get your coffee or water, maybe this is a good time to think about, for you, Tracey, and I'll come back with an answer and I'll think about it too. And for you, Rob, and for everybody listening, is that we talked about the payoffs for being a victim, but what do you lose by being a victim? And maybe everybody can think about that, and we can come back, and then we'll look at why you want to fight to get out of that role and how you as a partner can help your partner.
Great.
We'll be right back with Straight Talk with Sandra Reish.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reish. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Spa Munari is a full-service wellness day spa located at the heart of West Island, Quebec. Submerge yourself in beauty with one of our many treatments, specially catered to your needs. We offer facials, manicures, pedicures, hair removal, massages, body treatments, and so much more. Enjoy our ultimate relaxation experience with our spa packages. We offer a men's menu as well. Call us today to book your next appointment at 514-695-5040 or visit us on the web at spamunari.com. That's 514-695-5040 or spamunari.com.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reish, on her famous couple retreats, and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Your life, your health, your network. This is Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reish.
I was just on the commercial thinking about the question and also thinking about what a privilege it is to have you asking these really thought-provoking questions. And I don't know who else could do this. So thank you, Tracey. I really appreciate it. And I really think that it's going so fast.
It really is.
And I'm so glad
fast.
There's a part two. Because you're we're going to have you back because you're so good at this. You're just so natural at it. And it's great. And I think that so many people can benefit from this. And I'm happy if anything that I say is helpful for people. And even if you're listening and it doesn't make sense, then write in and say, I don't agree. And we can talk about that. It's okay. These are the things that I have found to be true. And, some of it's research-based, some of it's Sandraisms. So we were talking about the idea of getting someone out of victim. And so I guess the first thing is we looked at the payoffs of being a victim, but now, what are the downfalls of being a victim? And there's a lot, right? Because your story keeps going. It's over and over again. You're always a victim.
Yeah, and what comes with that is being pretty much perpetually unhappy.
Yes. Maybe a perverse pleasure in being unhappy, they call it.
It's the romantic,
the struggle,
suffering.
Yes. The person who was telling me about the cigarettes and the self-hatred, that's not self-hatred, he said it goes with being an artist. So the romantic torture, we're supposed to be in pain, the really deep ones of us. No, absolutely not. Okay, so the thing is, if you get out of victim, the world just opens up. The possibilities are endless. But if you're a victim, the world is full of buts and stops. And for me, it's a no-brainer. I understand why it's easier to be a victim, but it's a no-brainer. Now, you mentioned if your partner's going through this, you have to always step away from the victim because it is like a drug haze of dangerous toxic drugs and chemicals because it is very contagious. Okay, because eventually you're going to start competing with the victim. They're like, my life's so horrible. You're like, well, my life's not that easy either. So you have to be extremely careful about that and not, if someone's going into it, you can bring it to their attention. If they still want to go into it, me personally, I don't engage it. So if someone says my life is horrible and, I've tried to give them some advice, maybe I can give you the number of a therapist and they still don't want to do something about it. If they say their life is horrible, I would say to them, I'm really sorry to hear that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how, so that's the partner. I can't pull a partner out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you yourself recognize that you're in this state? What are the steps to get oneself out of victim?
Well, I think you have to recognize the sentences of the victim. If you're watching the streaming, you're seeing a little movement here. Okay, so are you a person who says things like, it's not fair? Okay, so ask yourself that question. If you say often it's not fair, that's the language of a victim because nobody said that life was fair. And I don't know how we determine what fairness is. I'm not sure because life is not fair. People live in the other side of the world are not sitting here having the pleasure of sitting in a cool office and doing a radio show. That's not fair. So, that's just the way it is. Life is not fair. So be careful about that. And if you'll know you're a victim, but I think you're right. You have to first recognize that you're falling into victim. You'll know you're a victim if you constantly are saying, yes, but. Somebody gives you a solution and there's a yes, but to the situation. So that's part of the victim mentality. So if you're doing that, you'd have to recognize, do I really want to get better? Do I really want to get better?
And then what? If I think it becomes so ingrained in the way you function in the world, this victim mentality. So it's very automatic to do the yes, but. How do you stop doing that? How do you stop believing that there's a yes, but in my story?
Well, I think you have to become conscious of, and I really in my own life like to call myself out. And I'm not really sure why. You're asking a good question because it's something that confounds me. Because if I hear myself saying yes, but, I right away hear a victim talking. So then you remember I said I talk to myself. So I'd be going, Sandra, what's going on here? Why are you saying yes, but over and over and over again? So I'd have to say, well, Or I have no choice is another.
Yes.
I have no choice. I'm stuck. But we always have choice as humans. We always have choice. There's, people in the most dire situations where they physically have no choices, but they mentally have choices. We always have a choice. It's not always a good choice. You have to decide to recognize you have a choice. And I think that's a good one. To ask yourself, do you have a choice in this situation? And we always have a choice, except for when we're children. Yeah. But as adults, we always have a choice.
I found that to be the most freeing, one of the most freeing things you taught me was that there's always a choice. Mm-hmm. Part of the victim self-talk is I have no choice, poor me, but there is always a choice. And that is so empowering and so freeing.
Always there's a choice. But again, I think people get stuck. The choices aren't always good. If the choice is I have to give up my child for adoption or I have to go on welfare, I'm not saying those are good choices, but the fact that you have a choice is empowering.
Right.
It gives you some locus of control, and that we want that. So I'm glad you like that. I like it too. I like feeling I have a choice. So when I hear myself saying I have no choice, I know that's not true. Mm-hmm. There's always a choice. It may not be the first choice that I wanted. So then you choose your price tag. Which price tag is higher? Mm-hmm. The choice A or choice B?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so big question. Is there time to move on to a new topic?
We've got 4 minutes left of the show. I think we can start it, and we'll continue it on part 2.
Okay. So this is in contrast to victim, is gratitude and the concept of abundance, which you've taught me is sort of the antidote to victim.
You really do listen to me, because it is the antidote to victimization, is instead of looking at what you don't have, look at what you have. And it's hard to do that when you're having a bad day, but that's when you need to do it the most. Okay, is what do you have? And what's the abundance in a circumstance that happens? So I had a difficult circumstance yesterday. Something's happened with my child, and I was very worried and very upset. And it was not a good situation. And I tried to look, I asked myself that exact question, what is the abundance in the situation? And the abundance in that situation was there's something that needs to be taken care of in terms of her. And I may not have gotten that message unless I went through the difficult spots. So the most difficult spots in your life, if you could look at what's the lesson here, I'm grateful this is happening, so I'm growing into the person I want to become. I know that's hard to do, but everything will change. And that brings me to another Sandra concept, is to trust life, is that things happen for a reason. So you can turn it into, I can't believe how many bad things happen to me, or you could turn it into, is what is this here to teach me, which is abundant and filled with gratitude. Mm-hmm. Right, that spoke to you.
I like that a lot.
Okay, so let's take a little minute on this here and see how this is going for you. You've been a client of mine. You've been very open about it, and you've gone through all these things. What's it like for you to be interviewing me?
It's actually pretty incredible. It really brings everything into perspective. I mean, all of these things we're talking about, these are concepts I had no idea about 5 years ago. I really understand these things now, and I apply them, and it's made my life completely different. But however, I will say I still do get pulled into my old behaviors. I mean, I did those things for my whole life, my whole adult life. And so I constantly have to remain vigilant and reminding myself of these things too.
Absolutely.
And being able to sit here with you and sort of go through them together, it's a great reminder for me.
Well, I'm excited because thank God we booked a double so that we can continue on. So we're going to slowly start to wrap up this show, but we're going to continue on for next week. And what are we going to be getting into, Tracey? Where are you taking me on this hot seat that I'm on?
Well, the next big section will be on relationships.
Oh, boy. Okay, so relationships is a big topic I'm really looking forward to talking about. Is there something in particular that you want to get into, the dance between men and women?
Definitely the dance between men and women. I want to talk about codependency. I want to talk about love. Like, what is healthy love versus unhealthy love? You know, I think society has taught us so many things, and we believe it to be true, but it actually is really bad for us.
Yes. I can't, like the songs like I Can't Live If Living Is Without You. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about.
Or You Complete Me.
Oh, you
this
completely.
Notion of you complete me.
Yeah, so scary, very disturbing. I'm looking very forward to that. I always like to end with a few things that are on my heart. And what's on my heart today is, first of all, talking about gratitude. As I said, I'm very grateful to you for doing this. You've done a lot to help other people, and you're always so generous with your time if it will help somebody in their journey. And it's a tremendous gift to others and to me. So I want to thank you first and foremost.
Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. And as you ask these questions, you give me also a great gift to remind myself of the lessons that I taught myself in my life. And I'm just very grateful that there's resources out there that I had and that you had to help ourselves to create a better world. So thank you, Tracey. I'm looking forward. We're going to take a short break and start to tape our second show. And I'm looking forward to continuing on with you. Thank you, Robert. And this is Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. And we'll see you next time. Keep your eyes on the stars.
Thank you for listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. We hope you've enjoyed today's show, and we'll tune in again next Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. Now, go live your best life.